The Federal Executive Council has approved the request for amendments of the 2022 appropriation and its transmission to the National Assembly. The meeting of the Council, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Zainab Ahmed, revealed this while briefing State House correspondents on the outcome of the Council meeting. According to Ahmed, part of the request of the executive in the proposed 2022 appropriation amendment is for clauses 10 and 11 to be repealed because they contravene provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility and Finance Act 2021.
The second memo we presented to Council today has to do with a request for approval of the 2022 appropriation amendment. If you recall, when the President signed the 2022 appropriation into law on the 31st of December, he had raised some concerns that he had in some of the provisions in the budget and had indicated that he will be submitting an amendment proposal to the National Assembly for them to effect improvements in what has been done to the budget. So today Council took that amendment proposal, and I just want to report that part of the request that Council has approved today is for the National Assembly to repeal clauses 10 and 11. So clause 10 is referring to a provision that has been made that will enable the EFCC and the NFIU be able to take 10% of whatever collections that they recover. We're asking for that to be repealed because this is in direct contrast to the acts of these two agencies, and also it is in contravention with the Fiscal Responsibility Act and the Finance Act 2021. Clause number 11, on the other hand, is a provision that has been made that says that the Nigerian embassies and missions are now authorized by this Appropriation Act to expend funds allocated to them under capital components without the need to seek approval of the Federal Minister of Foreign Affairs. This again, in our view, and Council agreed, is inconsistent with financial regulations and also inconsistent with the provisions of the public procurement. And so we're asking for those to be repealed. So we also presented to Council today a request for Council's consideration to make additional funding provisions to enable us to meet incremental fuel subsidy requests in the 2022 budget. You recall that in the 2022 budget as appropriated, we had made a provision of 443 billion for fuel subsidy for January to June. Having taken into account the current realities, increased hardship in the population, heightened inflation, and also that the measures that needed to be taken to enable a smoother exit of the fuel subsidy are not yet in place, it was agreed by Council that it is desirable to exit fuel subsidy. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, has presented to the Ministry a request for 3 trillion naira as fuel subsidy for 2022. And what this means is that we have to make an incremental provision of 2.557 trillion naira to be able to meet the subsidy requirement, which is averaging about 270 billion naira per month. In 2021, the actual under-recovery that has been that has been charged to the Federation was 1.2 trillion, which means an average of 100 billion per month. But in 2022, because of the increased prices of crude oil price per barrel in the global market, now at $80 per barrel, and also because NNPC's assessment is that the country is consuming 65.7 million liters per day, that will end up with incremental cost of 3 trillion in 2022. So this has been considered by Council,